Now then, people, it's Joe, it's All Leeds TV, and this is a two-part video where we discuss the transfers, the incomings over this fantastic window for Leeds United. So make sure you stick around, tune in, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yeah, enjoy the video.
Hello, people, it's Joe from All Leeds TV, it's Jack, it's Tasha, and it's Oscar.
The plan for today then, guys, I thought what we would do is just have a little dance through the transfer window. For me, probably the best transfer window we've had for quite some time, especially under Radrazani's tenure anyway. But, I mean, before we touch on the individuals and have a little chat about each and every one, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the transfer window as a whole. Obviously, it was initially muted that we were going to be after the cream of the championship. I mean, we've ended up with fully fledged internationals. So how's about that? I mean, how do you feel about that, Jack and Tash?
Can I just say, right, I had a little flashback then when you said this is like our best transfer window, yeah. And I just had a flashback when I used to watch the transfer deadline day, like in League One times, and you think Becchio's gone, Jermaine Beckford's gone, you know, Ross McCormack's gone. Like all them times when you have to keep selling our best players, and you think, well, we're starting from square one again. How are we meant to ever go up? Because we just kept selling all our best players, and it was just over and over and over. And you just think, how are we ever going to get out of this? And it was just like repeat. So it's so nice to have a team that we built foundation and to build on that. And oh my God, it's amazing. And we're good time.
Buzzing, man. We've not had a chance to catch up with Jack and Tash, to be fair, for a bit. And it's just nice to hear the excitement and that in your voice. Do you know what I mean? Because you're right, man. We've got our football club back. It's amazing, isn't it, Jack?
I think the thing what you just look at now, we're just so secretive in how we do things. None of us even know from one minute to the next. You can hear I mean, I don't even think Filet is the gospel of all gospel. And I don't think he even knows what's going on at that club at the minute. And that's just testimony to the owner, the chief executive, and the director of football, how they are going about their business. I think they're just throwing curveballs out there to take the scent away from the actual players that we do want. You know, again,
because the price goes right up when they start doing everything like that.
You've got that, but you know, I think at the minute as well, Leeds United we were linked with about 33,000 players, weren't we, since we got promoted, you know, and it was just mental, wasn't it? But out of them all, who did we sign that we were linked with? I mean, Rodrigo, I know we said, and we didn't release it, but we knew about the Rodrigo one a week before it had happened because we found out, but we couldn't do that and say anything. But like say Llorente, I don't think any of us know about that. And then the Rafinha one at the weekend were just the absolute, where's this even come from, you know? I think the Michael Croissant thing were just like a gimmick, wasn't it, you know? Get him in, and we've got this one coming in behind him, so we'll be all right.
Do you remember that time when there was that person that was like going to Ellen Road to do bits for LUTV, and everyone was like, "This is another player."
Yeah. It was the guy who ended up doing the YouTube stuff for all the for LUTV, weren't it? And I know, that young ghetto lass.
That flirting with everyone.
Anyways, less said about that, the better. But Oscar,
he went on a free transfer, didn't he?
I forget the footballer he was supposed to be as well, man, and he took a photo. It was funny. Just Oscar, them speaking about obviously the club and how quiet the business is at the minute and how we've been able to go about it. Just how integral to Orta, is Orta to that, and the fact as well that Roma actually came in, didn't he, and tried to take him away from Leeds United, and he turned them down. I mean, just how great has this window been for not just the club, for us, but for the reputation of Victor Orta amongst fans, because there was still a few that question him, which I think is absolutely bonkers, mate.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's totally unexpected, the business we did. I mean, if you cast your mind back to when we were going through, like, two and a half months ago, when we were first talking about who might come through the door, we talked about people like Ollie Watkins, Ben Rama, Buendia, I think we've got a bit of a mention too. All kind of like championship English-based players, if you know what I mean. And we haven't made one signing like that. We haven't made one signing like that. It's all been international signings. As Jack said, other than Rodrigo, I can't think of one person we brought in through the door who we knew about 48 hours before. It's just been kind of like every single deal we've done, links to him, deal's gone in, deal accepted, medical done, bang, through the door. We've just been so swift and just got it business done. You compare it to them lot, over the Pennine, Scum and that lot. They'll still be trying to get Jadon Sancho in 10 years, honestly. But the speed to just get things done. That's the thing. I think that's all down to Orta. Orta and Bielsa's working relationship, And look, a lot of those players might not have even been first choices. It might have been a case of obviously Quaison, however pronounce it. Don't even need to know now, do we? But that one was one I think obviously wanted to happen. But okay, it didn't happen. We had to respond. We had to respond. Possibly looking at like getting someone from the Championship on loan or on a small fee, to kind of cover Matthias' click. And yeah, you know what? It's probably been the best transfer window of my lifetime, to be fair, I'd probably say, in terms of where we are as a club. I mean, you've got to remember we are a newly promoted club as well as we have done these first 4 games. It's been that we still have to remember we're still a new Premier League club, to an extent. So, to get the people through the door we have, we've got Spain's number 9. Spain's number 9, who hasn't actually started the league game yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't get ahead of Man United.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So let's start with the start of the window, really. And the start of the window, we re-signed or made them permanent, as it were. Helder Costa, obviously, permanent deal, and Jack Harrison for another further year. Just how impressed have you been with? Because look, there was question marks over Costa, especially for me at the end of last season. I think, and Oscar was always banging the drum for him, but amongst a group of fans, I was one of them. Maybe Jack as well, as he puts his hand up.
No, I loved him. him.
Right, okay. But go on, I'll let you start then, Jack. Just how important were them two, and how good have they been since we've made that step up?
I think the thing with Costa, there's a kid who sits beside us in South Stand, and all last year up until obviously we got locked down and everything like that, it was Costa. He's shit. He is shit. He is shit. And I have sent him so many texts. I used to get annoyed beside him, and I've sent him so many texts. Every text I send him now is Costa shit, and he's just laughing his head off all the time now.
Actually, to be fair, he keeps texting you back saying Bamford shit.
Bamford shit. But I just always seen. I mean, I remember Helder Costa at Wolves, and I knew he was a fantastic player. And I was always a bit disappointed with himself, and the Barry Douglas combination never took off like it did in the Championship for Wolves when they absolutely romped it. And apart from us, probably the best team to win Championship ever. But yeah, that's never took off. But I just always seen something in Costa, and I thought we always knew I think the outline of the deal that we were going to sign him this summer, no matter what. I think that was the agreement to get him. I think, whether I'm right or not, but I'm sure that's what I did here. But I always rated Helder Costa, and I had this thing that I thought he would actually be more suited to the Premier League than the Championship, where he's trying to get kicked upside down by someone from fucking Barnsley or wherever, some old journeyman that's trying to make a name for himself. And yeah, I always absolutely loved Costa. I mean, you can talk about Addison, because we all love Addison. I mean, I loved Addison. God, you gotta let you talk about Addison.
Yeah, Harrison just keeps improving and improving. I think every season, you think like after last season, you think, can he really improve anymore? But he has, and I think we missed him a little bit at Man City. We still did really good at Man City, but I still think he is such a crucial part of our team.
So not long after Jack Harrison and Costa, I mean, we knew that was happening. They sort of re-signed. We had some new deals done for Matthias Borges and Jamie Shackleton. Obviously, Jamie Shack's still with us. I thought he might have gone out on loan personally. If not, we might see more of him. Doesn't look like it seems to be the case. And Matthias Borges has gone out on loan. Obviously, taking Borges out of the equation, do any of you see Jamie Shackleton? The reason I ask this question is after that first season, that Jamie Shackleton broke through under Bielsa, I thought he would just go boom. And he hasn't. He's sort of like gone like this. Do you know what I mean? And sort of plateaued.
He's a young player, though.
Go on, sorry, what?
I think because he's a young player, I think that he's still breaking through like the youth team and everything like that. He's still in limbo kind of thing where he's playing in that sense. But
do you think we, after that first season though, Tash, I guess my question is, do you think we would have seen more than what we have? Because he's only made a handful of appearances really for the first team.
I don't know, because of the players that we've got. There's there's a lot more competition. So it's where he fits in. I think he's just, like you say, just comes on and changes the game. He brings that energy on when it starts getting a bit slow. And we've not got that many options. I think he comes in then. I think as he gets older and older, I think he'll be playing a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar, where do you see his best? I guess we would see him as a midfielder, right? But do you think maybe Bielsa sees him as more as cover at right back?
I mean, it's an interesting one, but I agree with Tash. I think a young player, the trouble he has is Shaqs is that he's not playing week in, week out. Most games he's kind of on the bench and he's coming on for 10 minutes at most, and sometimes just to see games out almost, you're not really seeing the best of him. He's just on the pitch just to see the game out, from 1-up or something. But it's an interesting one because he's had some really good games at right back. I remember that when Ayling got into that first season, I think he was out for about 2 months. Shaqs went in, and to be fair, when Ayling came back, a lot of us wanted to keep Shackleton in the team, because and it was one of those. He made such an impression. I remember one game, Bolton away. I remember going to Bolton away, and he was just on the right hand side of the pitch. Just the right flank was his. You know what I mean? He just bossed it, and he's got serious ability. I think just with the style of player he is, he's got energy, and that naturally, I think fullback can play there. You know what I mean? He's got that awareness and energy to play fullback. I still think he's more of a centre mid, though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's a direct Matthias Click replacement, because you look in terms of, I think Click's about 10 years older than, you can say, almost. Can he be kind of our Phil Foden to David Silva kind of thing? If you know what I mean. That's
calm
down.
No,
but comparatively, you know what I mean.
No, I know.
When I first saw him, I thought, you know what? Yeah, I think it was Derby in the playoffs when he came on for So I think second half and that away one, obviously the first leg we won, and I thought, wow, you know what, he's just done that in the playoff semi-finals. Just come on, and just played this game. You know what I mean? The biggest stage of our season, and then just didn't really kick on. I think he had an injury, didn't he, start last season as well. So he was never really in that pecking order. Obviously, Forshaw was in at that time. Click's never getting dropped. Obviously, Tyler, Pablo, and it's just so difficult for him to get minutes because of the competition in that position.
Yeah, from my own opinion, before I go to Jack, I personally thought we would have seen more of both. Obviously, Jack and Tash went out to Australia. Borges played in pre-season. He'd not featured. I remember someone did a poll. I don't know if it was one, and I had Matthias Borges as the breakout star of the coming season. Never seen him at all. Jamie Shack had such a great first season. I was like, he's going to light it up. Not seen enough of him. Just Jack, what are your thoughts on them two? Did you feel the same, or?
I'll speak about Borges first. We went to Australia, and the few games I've seen Borges play, I've just seen there is something about him. He has got talent, but again, we're not seeing these players every day in training. No. We don't know how they're performing, if they're doing the right things. Well, obviously they're not, because they're not getting to that level of really, really pushing for that first team place. Yeah. Jamie Shack being a bit more closer than what Borges has. Borges seems to be miles away, hasn't he? He's just been more or less with under 23s. He hasn't really been getting on the bench. And I do think that this loan deal to Spain for him will be a big, big year for him. Team football out there, and he's playing in La Liga, isn't he?
I think is it the league below, mate? I think
the league below.
Yeah, I think it's the league below. I think.
Yeah, sorry, but even that.
Where Saiz came from.
Yeah, where Saiz came from. But Jamie Shack, I'm a massive, massive fan of Jamie Shack.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I mean, the first time I seen him, it was actually York pre-season, and it was in Bielsa's first pre-season.
I actually said it to you. I was like, look at him.
And he played on the wing that night at York, and we were just like, who's this little tiny 4'6" bloke that's absolutely tearing these to bits? And he was just so direct. Every time we got ball, he was so direct, and he was playing on right wing that night. But if I do remember right as well, Bielsa was saying big things about him straight away as soon as he got there. He were really, really singing his praises. So I do think he's in Bielsa's force, but again, right back, he's not going to replace Ayling. And then you've got Dallas, who can also play at right back.
Yeah.
Two fantastic players that are obviously a lot more experienced than him. He can only learn from them, playing with the players every single day. Midfield for me, nah. I just can't. I just think he's just too small. I think
too small and slight, yeah.
Yeah, I do, and I think that will be.
I don't know. He makes great runs.
He does, and the energy that he's got, the kid. Like I said, I absolutely love the kid, but I just think the physicality, I just think it might be too much for him at the minute to be playing centre midfield. I do, but I just think it's going to be a learning curve for him.
Moving on now, we're going to speak about. It was a permanent transfer. We had him the season before. There was question marks over who would go in goal. Do we need to bring in a replacement? Do we need to bring in a Romero, Emiliano Martinez, talking 18 million transfer fees? We've decided to not, and we've stuck with the main man that is Ilian Meslier. I mean, just how impressed. Listen, I've had question marks over him. I've been there and watched along, said it in post-match, and he hasn't really been tested. Let's wait. But, I mean, he's just shut me up. I thought we could have had a possible another BPF on our hands. He can distribute the ball, but he wasn't that good shot stopping. That was my initial thoughts without mouthing it out. But how wrong was I? I mean, he's fantastic. And what did we pay for him? Like 5.5?
5 million, wasn't it? Yeah.
5 million. I mean, he's been called up to the French under-21s. Not many coaches give such young goalkeepers a starting spot from such a young age in the Premier League. And he could go on to be France's number one, man. He could win World Cups. He could win World Cups, man. How good is he, Oscar?
It's class, isn't he? I mean, for his age, unbelievable. Goalkeepers normally, at that kind of age, is an age where they're still not really commanding. They're still quite. I mean, like you're talking about BPF at that age. He was just like, you could not imagine him going for a cross in the 90th minute of the game, just catching it. He's got people just barging into him in that lot. But Meslier, he doesn't look like a big presence. But I'll tell you what, he does command his area. He shouts and he's communicating all the time. And if you'd asked me to guess what kind of age he was, I'd have said mid-20s. There's no way to say he was a 20-year-old who's only played like 20 senior games in his career.
Though, right? Because his face, he looks about 12.
Oh yeah, I know that, but but there's a presence, he's just a proper goalkeeper, I know obviously against Fulham, he didn't have a great game against Fulham, I didn't think. Certainly in the second half, he looks a little bit shaken from time to time, but I think he certainly proved himself in that Sheffield United game. And I think what's interesting is that the neutrals watching us at the minute, they're all talking about Meslier. I think on BBC, they had an article out on who is this goalkeeper? Who is he? He's 20 and he's doing this in the Premier League. He's the one who's getting a lot of the attention at the minute, and obviously Paddy Bamford as well. But that says a lot to me, And look, he's made some superb saves. I know he conceded 4 at Anfield, but he made some unbelievable saves in that first half of that game. That one off Wijnaldum, he's like 3 yards out, and how he's got across his goal to make that save. And obviously that one against Sheffield United, he's already in the first 4 games had 2 or 3. Proper save of the season contenders.
Talking about players for the future, the next ones that came through the door were Joe Geldhart, Charlie Allen, Cody Drama, another goalkeeper in Danny van der Heuvel from Ajax. I mean, it's really nice, isn't it, seeing the under-21s getting fleshed out as well, the under-23s, and some of them names that, I mean, Charlie Allen, was linked with Man United, Liverpool, all these top clubs. Yeah. Joe Geldhart has been likened to Wayne Rooney. Cody Drama, Fulham still wanted to keep him. and these sort of talents are turning them down and deciding to come to Leeds United now. I mean, how amazing is that? How it makes me feel proud. Do you know what I mean? Instead of us losing our best talent, we're taking everyone else's now.
Well, I think what it's going back to just the recruitment that the club has now.
Yeah.
It's not a Cellino-esque club now where they've got shit facilities, they've got shit coaches, they've got shit staff, they've got shit meals, they've got this. It's a fully elite professional Premier League club now.
Jack, it's like you said, yeah, like when Cellino, he drained the bloody pool out, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? And the tiles were falling off the walls.
I was going to say, you say shit meals, but he made them bring their own.
Yeah, making bring their own meals.
Lunches.
Yeah.
You know.
And then he stopped Leeds ladies as well, didn't he?
And then he was like, I cook the pasta and they win the game. I cook the pasta all the time. Remember when cooked them pasta that time?
Again, we'll go back to Victor Orton, you know, and obviously I think when he came from Middlesbrough, a lot of Middlesbrough fans are, he'll screw you over, he's going to he'll do that to you. And I think it all still goes back to this 5-year plan with Radrizzani.
Yeah.
But Leeds fans are not known to be the most patient in the world. But I think we're learning to be. Well, hold on a minute. We should have listened to this guy from day one. And I think we're actually in front of this 5-year plan.
Yeah.
We are. I think we're ahead of it. And what they're building there is why we're getting the likes of Somerville.
Yeah,
Feyenoord,
yeah.
Drama. You know, these players, the kid from Arsenal who's banging goals in left, right, and centre.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about them. Let's jump ahead. Obviously, let's jump ahead. You've mentioned there Somerville, Feyenoord. Just to mention a few more. Sam Greenwood, who's been nominated for Premier League Player of the Month, Premier League 2 Player of the Month. I think he's got 5 goals in 3 games. He's got a hat trick. Arsenal were gutted to see him go. He wanted to move back up north. He could have chose probably a number of clubs up north, but he decided to come to Leeds now because we are we've always been a top club, right? We've always been a top club. We've just had a lot of mismanagement. You know, you spoke about it there, but it is class. And we've got young Stuart McKinstry as well, Scottish international. You know, how exciting is it for you, Oscar, seeing all these young talents? I mean, you might know a little bit more about Joe Geldhart than us, coming from your neck of the woods. I know he was at Wigan, but he's a Scouser. I think they call him Joffy, don't they? But yeah, man, how exciting is it?
Yeah, massive, mate. I think obviously looking from the under-23, so managed to catch a couple. I think 2 of the games I think I've seen properly, and you just see Geldhart and Greenwood straight away. They've got proper understanding, you know.
Yeah.
Still kind of the same age. You think to yourself, that could be a front 2, you know, in the making in the future. You know, we've got a nice little understanding. Almost like kind of a Beckford, kind of Becchio kind of understanding. You know, Geldhart's a bit bigger and, you know, holds the ball up, and, you know, Greenwood just runs in behind and just left foot, right foot, head, whatever. You know, if he's from distance, he has a shot on goal. And it's, I mean, what's it at the minute? About 7 and 5 or something like that. He scored. He scored an absolutely unbelievable start for him. And yeah, and I think the defence looks good. Drama for me has really impressed me too. Seen a couple of people say he's Ayling-esque, and look, it's early days for that. You know, it's early days for all of them. You know, it's still, you know, don't overhype him too much. But what impressed me most is that it's not necessarily just one individual standing out. They're all learning how to play with each other already. You know what I mean? You know, if we're going to build something for the future, you've got to have them all, you know, understanding what we're about now as a club. You know, Bielsa getting his philosophy across everyone, you know, get across all different age groups, you know, and up to that kind of age, you know, they're all playing the same kind of way. And that's, you know, obviously what Corberan started doing. Obviously, Corberan's left the club, and we just tried to, you know, continue it now, you know, and that's the main thing, you know, they understand, you know, because in 2-3 years, you know, even possibly this season, I still think we might see one of them, or 2 of them, or 3 of them on the bench from time to time. You know, Greenwood, you look at and think, okay, if we had a big injury to Bamford, a big injury to Rodrigo, maybe Greenwood comes in as a 3rd or 4th striker on the bench. Not necessarily coming on, but getting around that first team environment and understanding, you know, because that's the big thing, you know, at that age, it's always difficult to say how a player's going to go. You know, obviously, a lot of it's from their mindset themselves, you know, can they keep themselves focused, get themselves fully fit, how will they develop in terms of physical strength, etc., etc. And I just think they all look really, really big talents. And I think certainly Geldhart and Greenwood, just hitting it off from the straight away, getting understanding each other. Massive, mate. Really exciting.
Can I just enjoy into this? So I'm talk about Ajax, obviously how they are and their youth development. Ajax do with players, and even they admit every year they will sell at least 2 or 3 of them players every year just to be self-sustained. Do you think that Leeds are sort of going that sort of way as well? Let's get these young kids in, and then we could end up. Let's develop them, make them look absolute fantastic players, and then sell them on for a massive profit and make the club so sustainable that it's making so much money that we can build on and then be going for your elite players. Do you know? Because I have to do that.
Yeah, we go on, Tash.
Especially now that we've gone up to Category A, haven't we?
Yeah, which is a massive thing. You will attract the better players then.
We've seen it for me with the likes of Apoel Halmi, just bringing them in, small fees, moving them on. We had the striker Munir, and we had Kuntezmenikov. Just these young players that come and then move on. I genuinely think, and maybe I'm shooting my bolt too early, but I think we might sell Borges for a profit as well. If I'm being totally honest, that's just my opinion. I don't know if he'll quite break through, but I'm going to list the young ones now that have been brought in, and then that are on a new deal. And I just want to know from you is who you're most excited for. Who do you see having a massive future at Leeds United, and why? So we've obviously Matthias Borges, 18-year-old, signed a new deal. He's gone out on loan. You've got Jamie Shackleton, only 20-year-old, still with the club. Joe Geldhart, 18, brought him from Wigan. Charlie Allen, who's only 16, touted by some huge clubs, brought him from Midfield. Cody Drama. Danny van der Heuvel, keeper from Ajax. I don't know much about. Obviously, we've re-signed Alfie McCalmont on a new deal as well. He's out at Oldham. Sorry,
Oldham, yeah. And he scored first game, didn't he?
Yeah, he's with him who should not be named, right? Which I was very surprised at. Sam Greenwood, 18. Stuart McKinstry, 17, and Somerville, who we brought in from Feyenoord, who's only 18. Out of that group there, who most excites you? And we'll start with Oscar.
Probably Greenwood. Greenwood and Allen for me. I think Greenwood, the way he started, just looked a real top player. And the fact he's already, before he even kicked a ball for us, he'd already gone to Sunderland and done really well, gone to Arsenal, done really well. And he just looks a really good player to me. And I think Charlie Allen's a really interesting one in terms of the style of player he is, in type of midfielder is. In terms of what I've read about him and that lot, I've not seen him play for us yet, but he sounds a bit of a click. Really good technical player. Got a bit of fire in his belly as well. Well, defensively, he'll do a bit of defending, he'll do a bit of attacking, does a bit of everything. And I think he's that type of player who, you can, and obviously McCalmont as well. McCalmont similar to Phillips, Allen similar to Click, and that's what you kind of want. You want to build that basis. You want to have direct replacements. From player to player.
So
all of them.
Those three for me, but yeah, I think Greenwood's
never one for a short answer in Oscar.
Greenwood will go the furthest in the game for me. Out of them all, from what I think Greenwood will go the furthest. I think if he keeps his head, he keeps his head switched on, yell and under the Yelzer, I think he goes the furthest.
Nice. Jack, Tash?
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that I've heard a lot about is obviously and seen a bit of is Sam Greenwood, but also that Somerville. He's lightning, absolutely lightning. But I'm going to bring someone else up here who I think could be really, really pushing for first team very shortly. Jack Jenkins.
Okay.
Jack Jenkins is absolutely fantastic. That kid. I mean, he set a goal up, I think, the other day, and the ball he played through for Greenwood to score. And he's a centre midfielder. Reminds me of Batty a bit. Gets stuck in. He's absolutely fantastic with ball at his feet. So yeah, that's another one we haven't even spoke about there. But I don't think that Jenkins could be getting there. I think
Leeds exclusive people. Watch out for Mr. Jack Jenkins.
Future is bright.
Yeah, exactly.